is buzzing around. That could so be a story. You'll have to write that one for me, and I'll tell it next time, okay? But this time, I want to tell you a story of 3 travelers. And they were going along the road, and they've been traveling for a while. When they first started out, their backpacks had a lot of food in it, because they had to share between the 3 people, right? But now, their food was running pretty low. The good news was they were coming across a town not too far, and at the town, they could get some food, maybe a nice place to sleep. You know, they would probably do some chores and things like that for people. In exchange, that was only reasonable, but at least it wouldn't be so bad on the road. So they got to the town. They knocked on the first door they saw, and when that person answered the door, they said, "Hello. We were just wondering if you might have some meat or wine, a nice, just one room for us to sleep in for the night." The owner told them that there had been sickness in the house, and unfortunately they didn't have any food to share, and they couldn't stay the night there either. So they went to the next house and knocked on the door, and when that person answered, they opened it up, and the second traveler looked at them and said, "Hi, any bread and water? And we noticed you guys stayed the night here. Maybe we could just stay the night back there?" Well, that person didn't even say a word, just closed the door and shook her head. They went to the third house and knocked on the door, but that person just opened it a little bit and closed it really fast before they could even say anything. They knocked on every single house in that town, and no one had any food to share. They didn't have a place for them to sleep. They didn't even have any work for them to do. That seemed really strange, that their entire town couldn't share anything, especially when they had been traveling through the town. And do you know what they saw growing all over the town? Yes. Tomatoes and tomatoes and tomatoes. The tomato vines were taking over the town. It must have been August or something, because they were everywhere. This town couldn't even share a couple of tomatoes for their dinner? Something seemed really strange about that. Maybe this town needed a reminder of how to share with strangers. So they went to the middle of the market square where everybody gathered, and they got together and they started having a very dramatic conversation. One of those conversations you want other people to overhear. "Yes, do you remember that time when we made that fantastic soup for the king?" Yeah, it was really simple, like just some rocks and tomatoes, right? I like the basil and some salt and pepper, but yeah, that was pretty much it. I think he called us wizards when we made the soup. Wait, hold on. How do you make soup out of rocks and tomatoes? That sounds really strange. Well, the market manager heard them talking about this, and she wanted to know this recipe. This sounded pretty cool. So she came over and she asked them what they were talking about. Well, it would be better to show you rather than to tell you. Well, what do you need? Well, we need some rocks and we need some tomatoes. Oh, and we need a big cauldron pot, like a soup pot. You got one of them? Of course she did. She made soup all the time. So she went and she got the pot. She went over and she gathered up some tomatoes from all the vendors in the market. And by the time she got back, well, the strangers, the travelers, had built themselves a fire in the community fire pit. Put her soup pot on top of that. They started chopping, they got out the pocket knives and started chopping up those tomatoes quick as they could, all filling up the pot, filling up the cut. And then they got 3 smooth stones and they right into the big pot. Yes, while we're waiting for this, do you mind getting some water? The soup would go further if we just had some water in the pot. Well, sure. The manager went to all the vendors, and here the vendors were gathered from the well all the way to the soup pot with buckets and pots and pans, and they carried all this water to the big pot. and they poured it in. And by the time it got to the top, the water actually started to boil. Yeah, tomatoes look really good. But yeah, a plant partner's right. Some basil will be really good in this soup. You got anybody who does like herbs and spices? Of course they did. It was a market. So the market manager led them over to the herb vendor, and they picked out basil and a little bit of oregano and some salt and some pepper, brought that back to the pot, sprinkled it all in. Oh, it was smelling really good now. Yeah, I remembered we had cheese sandwiches. Cheese sandwiches? Nobody had ever heard of cheese sandwiches before. But at the market, there was a bread vendor and there was a cheese vendor. This traveler talked to them both, got them together, and they invented the first melted cheese sandwich. Does anybody like melted cheese sandwiches? Oh, it's so good. And what do you like with melted cheese sandwiches? Do you like tomato soup with your melted cheese sandwich? Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. And that's what they ended up having. There was enough soup and enough sandwiches that they fed the entire town. And it ended up being a huge party. Like everybody got together and they were having soup and sandwiches. They had a fiddler come in. They had a drummer come in. They had my friend Franco with the saxophone come in. He was a traveling musician, you know. But they had so much fun that night that the market manager invited the 3 travelers to stay at her house that night. The next morning, they got up. They packed up all their bags and everything to hit the road. And the manager thanked them again for such a wonderful recipe. And that party last night, completely unexpected, but wonderful at the same time. And she didn't know what that secret was in that soup, but it was just the most amazing thing that she had ever tasted. And the travelers all looked at one another because they knew what the secret was. The secret was in the sharing. Thank you very much. Now, my name is Magda the Story Spider. We are a group from, I live here in East Nashville, but our group, Explorastory, is from Hendersonville, Tennessee. And we gather together once a month, and we do events like this, telling stories to kids and to grown-ups too. I'm actually telling over on the concert stage at 1 o'clock to grown-ups. But for now, I want to tell you about Mr. Barry, because Mr. Barry is going to be telling you some more stories. And Mr. Barry is also an author. He has written a couple of books. One has scary stories in it, and the other is a grown-up novel. And both of those books are on sale at our very own East Side Story if you're interested. But for now, it's all about the tomato stories, right? So here's Mr. Barry.